tonight. I want to thank the Friends of the Tewksbury Public Library for sponsoring tonight's program and sponsoring all our programs here at the library for adults, teens, and kids. We're a very active programming library. We run one, sometimes two programs a day for adults. I will tell you that this week we're running a few get organized type programs. This coming Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, a professional organizer named Eileen Reed will be here to discuss how you can live better with less. How does that sound, right? And that, for those who plan on attending, just a heads up, we're going to be in the Fairgrave wing on Wednesday night, which is where the magazines and newspapers are. So I'm going to try to smush about 50 to 75 people in, but we'll be just fine. And then this Saturday, for those who might be interested, we're having a make-your-own cookbook recipe journal class. So it is a 4-hour class from 10 to 2, but it is free. We provide all the supplies for you. And that's limited to 20 people, and I believe there's only 1 or 2 spots left, so act soon, okay? All right. If anyone has any cell phones on them, they want to turn those to vibrate or silent. Restrooms are down the hall on the right before you get to the front desk. The building doesn't close till 9, so you have plenty of time afterwards to poke around if you'd like. Okay. Do you wish you could do the impossible, wiggle your nose to magically rid your home of clutter? Since that is impossible, learning the meaning of clutter and why it causes a person to feel stuck and unmotivated is very important. So we're going to become inspired to want to clean. This presentation is based on the principles of Feng Shui and understanding the relationship between the people and the place they live. So tonight's talk is led by Julie Peltier Rakowski. She's the owner and principal consultant of Feng Shui Services of New England. She is a graduate of the New England School of Feng Shui and a Red Ribbon member of the International Feng Shui Guild. So all 40 of us, let's give a big round of applause to Julie.
Thank you, everybody, for the return invite. It's wonderful to be back and sharing what I love and what I do as often as I can. And doing these presentations where folks are able to learn what it is and what Feng Shui can do to help you in your everyday life, and getting that information out. You share it, and then slowly it bubbles up. I always start out by saying you can spend all day getting a lovely massage, you can have your nails done, you can have a pedicure, and you are just all beautiful, primped, and then you walk into your house, and all those wonderful things that you did to the outside of you, as soon as you walk into your house, if it's not loving you or you loving it the way it should be, then all of that was just for nothing. Because your house, you want your home to be that place when you walk in, you get an energetic home. That's how I describe how your home should be for you. Whether it be in an apartment, whether it be a big 4,000 square foot home, whether it be a small ranch, it doesn't matter where you live, as long as you have a front door, and when you walk in, you get that big hug from your home. If you're not, then there might be a few Feng Shui reasons why that might be happening. So that's what we're going to do tonight. We're actually going to go through some of the slides and talk about how we can improve the Feng Shui in your home. So number one is, the correct pronunciation is Feng Shui. There is a restaurant in Chelmsford called Feng Shui, which is very nice. And there is good Feng Shui in that restaurant, I must say. And it literally means wind and water, because it's about energy, and energy flows on the water and in the wind. And you'll see that you can have too much water or too much wind. And it's an energetic design plan. So when I look at a home, I'm not always looking at how your furniture is placed. I might be looking at where your bathrooms are located, where your cell hiding or tucked away? And how do we get that, motivate that energy to start working for you in your home? You want your home, your space, to not only look good and feel good. Now, when I say look good, it doesn't have to be like a magazine. It doesn't have to be the most grand home. If it's your quaint home, has good feng shui, you know that. People love your home. A lot of times they don't want to leave. They're there for a long time because they like how your house feels. That generally is a good indication that you have good feng shui in your home. You can apply feng shui to anything. You can apply, most of us think of it as our home. You can feng shui your car, your office, your desk. If all you have is a desk at work, you can feng shui your desk. In other countries, they feng shui their town. All of their businesses have feng shui applied to them. So feng shui is not just your home. Feng shui goes a very long way. Like I said, to any space. So feng shui, if you have too much wind, you can have a windstorm or a hurricane, and nobody feels comfortable in that. When you have good feng shui in your home, you're feeling comfortable. It's a good place to be. If you're sitting at your dentist's office, it's not really all that comfortable. You don't really want to stick around there for very long. Just get the work done and pay the bill and off you go. So that's wind. And then water can flow when you have way too much water. Water can be a waterfall where it's rained and the waterfall is now, taking over the land and flooding. So there's a lot of problems with water. So wind and water, you want the balance of wind and water to be very calm. And so all of what we're going to talk about is balance today, and balance and clarity in your environment. So a little bit, I'll spend a few minutes about talking about feng shui, the basics of feng shui. So the history of feng shui is that it has been around for about 4,000 years. It started in China, and it has rolled through lots of different countries. It's picked up some different cultures and folklore and religion, and it's just moved and changed as it's gone along. But originally it was for royalty. Only royalty practiced feng shui. And we know that because royalty used it initially to locate the best position for their deceased relatives. So where would you want to bury the relatives? In Chinese countries, they pay a lot of attention to their dead ancestors. They have ceremonies every year, sweeping the tomb. They celebrate the death. They celebrate the birth of that person. So there's a lot of energy, because they don't feel that energy actually goes away. That energy stays with you, the family. So if you don't want, them coming back from the dead and coming back to haunt you, that you want to bury them in a place that's safe, that there's not going to be near a place where it might flood and the body gets washed away, or in the rocks and the mountains where you wouldn't be able to bury the body, people wouldn't be able to go and visit. So that's the very, very beginnings, the origins of that, and then it started to grow. For where would be the best place to put a farm, or a palace, or a pagoda, oh my goodness. So the different structures and how would that thrive, and the family or the town thrive in that environment. So there are now currently 3 schools of feng shui. The first school is called Classic, and when you open some of the feng shui books, if it has directions in it, like north, south, east, and west, and your best direction is a certain direction, so maybe it might be northwest, depending on your birth date, then everything is oriented to your best direction. In the United States, we don't work that way. Our places have already been built, and we already have our, everything is already placed in the right direction. So we mimic that classic Feng Shui with what we call Western style Feng Shui. In Western style Feng Shui, we use a bagua, which I'm not going to talk a lot about today, because it works with the 9 life areas. And believe it or not, all of our issues can be put into this bagua, these 9 life areas. And we overlay our map, this Feng Shui map, which would be like in classical, would be the compass, our compass. We overlay that onto your floor plan, and from that floor plan, we can see where there might be some energy, there's lots of harmful energy or good energy, and we can see right from there where things might, there might be an issue. So before the consult even begins, we already have a good idea before we go to your home what we're looking for. Just by the way, it starts out with you offering your floor plan, and the consultant overlays this compass, this map. I'm a nurse, and so we call them cures. Of course, if I work with somebody, we use to cure a space. Sometimes we just need to adjust environment. Sometimes we need to go to another level in Feng Shui, and this level in the Western style Feng Shui, this level is called transcendental. And transcendental cures are very deep, at a very deep level, and the only way I know what they are is that I have to go to a master, and I work with a master down in New York, and she shares her masters, so it's word of mouth, word by word by word, these different types of transcendental cures. And then there's always an energy exchange, and it's usually in the form of red envelopes. So I bring lots of red envelopes for these transcendental cures. Most of the cures that you're going to read about, or that I'm going to talk about, are called mundane. I can explain that to you in 10 words or less, and it's going to make much more sense. So what I want you to understand in Feng Shui, that there's the depth and the breadth of Feng Shui is you never stop learning, and you never stop appreciating different environments. There's lots of myths out there. I grew up in Salem, Mass, but I'm not a witch, and I cannot make witchy decisions, or I cannot make things move by twitching my nose. It is not it's not a religion. There's nothing about it that isn't that, like I said, that for the most part can't be explained. So most people I think they might be afraid of it, but there's nothing to be afraid of. The Western style Feng Shui I practice has one really interesting element is that we work with, it's based in Buddhism. I'm not a Buddhist, but there's a lot of meditation done in Buddhist teaching. So we're taught that prior to working in a Feng Shui situation, that we do lots of meditation and thinking about the intentions that the client has offered to us. So we're usually there for a reason. And that reason might be, oh my goodness, the list is endless. Usually it's about money, that my money luck seems to have dried up, so I need some money luck, or my career has seemed to taken off on a wrong path, or I don't have a job, or I am returning to school, so I'm looking for some guidance or assistance. I need some clarity with something, or health issues. So there's many reasons why people want to have their Feng Shui checked, because that way we can sort of get those, again, back to energetic blocks out of the way. So that's what intentions are for. So I'm always working and looking for intentions. So again, what might some of the intentions be? Discover or rediscover love connection. Improve family relationships, might be. Take control of situations. Feel more relaxed, less stressed. Improve physical and mental health. Find clarity for a life problem. Increase recognition and respect. That's in one specific area of your home. Improve your wealth or prosperity, that's your money luck. And maybe the need for more support or help. And there's a special area in your home where helpful people can be activated so that these people, especially going through health issues, maybe you want these people to you may not know them, they're out there, but you may want to feel their support. Some key principles of Feng Shui is that everything is alive and connected by Qi. So a perfect example is, before we entered this room, it was, the lights were out, the chairs were there was nobody in the chairs, there was no Qi flowing in this room. And then the lights went on, the doors opened, everybody started coming, filling in the seats. Everybody has their colors, their bright colors on, and their rain hats. And it just completely changed the Qi in the room, the Qi flow. And that's what this is all about, is how do we get that Qi flow moving, elevated. You can have positive and negative Qi. And it comes from the outside to the inside of your house. So it enters the front door through the mouth of Qi. So my question to all of you is, how many of you are using your front door every day to get into your home? Raise your hand, be proud. Excellent. If you're not, your homework is to use your front door once a day, get the mail, let the dog out, at least once a day. Because Qi, let's go back to 4,000 years ago, energy comes, remember, the rivers and trees. So when they were building villages and farms, and they were building them next to a river because they provided the water. So the water was so important to success in what folks were wanting. Food, healthy people. So they had rivers. We don't have rivers. We have streets. Those are considered our rivers. Our rivers are our streets. So energy comes to your home down your street. So if you were if I was coming to your home, or you invited guests to your home, how would you describe your home to your guests?
Past the potholes.
What is it?
Past the potholes.
Past the potholes. That's not very good Feng Shui, those potholes. No, although I've seen where people have put trees and plants and some funny things that have come up online and taken the potholes and sort of made them part of the landscape. Now that's good Feng Shui. So, do you have a flag? Do you have a red door? Because that attracts good Feng Shui. Do you have a beautiful wreath on your door? Is your name on your door? Do you have your number so everybody can see your number on your door? That's number one. Bring that energy, bring that Qi to your home. Save some to your neighbors, that's okay, but you want your good Qi, and that Qi comes only through the front door, the mouth of Qi. We'll go here. So for here, I just want to show you that this is up, say the first floor of your home. Qi comes in the front door, it sort of rolls around gently into the next room and out the back door. Very nice, gently rolling Qi. Here you have Qi that because the front door and the back door are aligned exactly, you get Qi, we call that rushing Qi, that's rushing right through the house. Can you see? Rushing. Does anybody have their front door and back door that are aligned?
I have a window there.
A window. All right. Do you have a curtain on that window or
Just a little bit, but I have
a crystal? She's so good. She's been here before. Yeah.
I have a really small condo, and the front door and the back door literally a straight line.
A straight line, right. So what you want to do is, if you can see through, right through, what you want to do is prevent that chi from entering and leaving. So what she did, just you put a crystal or hang something, a light curtain on that door, something that blocks that chi from leaving. It can be, you can talk to me afterwards, but it can be virtually anything. A sun catcher works, so, yeah, anything. Which one number was? All right, what about your clutter? So, when we talk about, one of the questions I get asked most along my journey is about clutter. And clutter comes from all of us that collect a lot of stuff, and it overwhelms us. And it's really hard to decide what is important and what isn't important in terms of clutter. And why do I really need to move some of this stuff? I am going to advocate for those who have never heard anybody from a professional organizer speak. I work closely with that organization, and I think they're coming Wednesday, he said. That is really not to be missed if you get on the list. Because they do, like, on their hands and knees, and just are an amazing group of people that help organize. And they all have specialties. Some specialize in hoarders, some, overwhelming clutter, some just with downsizing, some who are new moms. So there's all different types of organizers. So the question is, what's hiding in your house? This is my grandson, and that was our first attempt at doing a little house, gingerbread house. And our house tells a story. And generally when I walk into a home, I can pretty much tell what that story is. I'm going to ask you about your home. Tell me about that picture. Tell me about this furniture. How does this room get used? Lots of questions. But your house is a story. But is it the story that you want to tell, that you want to show the world? So what's your story? So the woman who I was in her home, she had a beautiful home, she lived there by herself. But all of her children, who are now grown, all of her children's things were in their rooms. It was like they had never left. The trophies were still on the wall. Then there were many of them. Their photographs, there was just so many. And the question is, how is this enriching her? And is it enriching them? Because she's holding them in such a way. And wondered why one of her sons was having trouble in his job. But again, she was holding on to them. Time to let them go. So the big question, or the big issue with clutter is that it suffocates you. Those of you who have lots of clutter, in certain areas, most of us, our clutter isn't in every area of the house. It's in one or two areas of the house. So it suffocates our energy. I mean, you literally, it's not giving you that energetic hug when you come walking through the door. What you're getting is, oh my goodness, I gotta dust, I gotta clean. I've been trying to get to that office for so long and I'm not able to get there. So we just feel suffocated by that energy. What do you think? I'm going to disclose, and I have permission to do so. That's a Feng Shui consultant's office. And because you can see that she's done some Feng Shui things really, really well. She's got her desk placed in the right way. It's facing out and not up against the wall. She's got the mirror in the back. And she's got lighting, and you can see, but she's overwhelmed with her stuff, with her clutter. This room has many purposes. So that was one of the great situations where I went down. This is in New York, and worked with the master, and he had some really interesting insight about this room. And what he said was, so there was this office space, and then there was a bedroom, and it was down the hall. And he said, move the two rooms, move the bedroom to the front of the apartment and moved the office to the back of the apartment. And the reason was this room was a little too dark. Although it doesn't show it there, but overall it was a little bit darker. And he thought that would be better for a bedroom. And then the other room was much brighter. He said it was more yang, and that room was much better for an office where you needed to be awake. And just the process of changing those two rooms allowed her to do the decluttering along the way, and allowed her to get rid of things that wasn't helpful to her. Or as Marie Kondo says, doesn't bring you joy. So, if this is yours, it was on the internet. You can't. What is a kitchen for? A kitchen is for cooking, obviously, for nurturing, for keeping your family healthy. And this kitchen does none of that. Okay, it's overwhelming with lots of things, and it definitely would need some assistance. And then the multi-purpose room. I mean, these are just very dramatic, show you sort of the side of clutter that just really gets people feeling suffocated. People that have lots of clutter will describe their feelings as being anxious or depressed, frustrated that they can't, frustrated that maybe their neighbor's house is a lot easier to keep clean than theirs, annoyed, resentful, lots of different feelings around that. So Peter Walsh is an organizing expert and says there's two types of clutter that we have. We have memory clutter, which that reminds us of important events in our life, and newspapers, we all have it. Someday clutter refers to items that you won't use, that you might feel that you need someday. Yes, shake your heads. Yeah, memory, yes. Yearbooks, textbooks, so much that we have. So that's what we're working on. What's memory and what's memory clutter, what is someday I might need it clutter. I heard this, somebody talk one time and said, if you give away something and it was something that you weren't really sure that you wanted to give it away, but you gave it away and think, oh, I'm gonna need that whatever that is, that item is gonna come back to you somehow. So it's never lost forever. It may not be the exact item. It might be something, an upgraded version of that item, but it will come back to you. So don't be so very fearful about, getting rid of that item. So what is the whole idea of decluttering and really getting into it? Number one is to set an intention. Why do you want to go at this? You want to go at this because you want to sell your home. Or there's another baby coming and you're going to need the playroom to be a bedroom. So there's an intention as to really why. You just want to feel better in your house. So set that intention. And the NAPO people, the organizers, will tell you, start to remove things in that. You work on one room. And start to remove things in that room. The bigger, the better, because you get more for your punch. You get rid of that big bureau that's looming over your bed and really it's just doesn't fit in the room. Once that's gone, that room is going to feel so much lighter. Then you organize. Then you clean the space. Then you feng shui. So a lot of times people will call me, they walk in and they go, I need help with clutter. Well, I'm not the person to do that. It's the organizing people to do that. But I'll come and help you feng shui so maybe this won't happen again. That's where I come in. And then of course there's always repeat. For those of us who work at this over and over again, it is always. My father's favorite day was, and it must have sort of genetically come to me, his favorite day still is trash day.
I just want to make a suggestion about the microphone. I
Yeah.
think maybe it's hard to hear sometimes and then it's really loud sometimes.
Yeah,
Is anyone else having that problem?
yeah, it's easier
So,
to just do it.
if you don't go right into it, it might be better.
Okay.
It's really
It's hard to
loud.
hear.
Are you
Okay.
finding that or no?
Yeah.
But if you do it in layers, like you get at least an organizational system in, you step away from it maybe another month or so, you go back, you can peel another layer away.
You got it.
And that way, it's not so dramatic or traumatic.
Exactly. So here's a story of a client who was actually a student of mine, and she started a business. We were invited to her home. We do group consultations when I work with students, and she offered her home. And this was her workspace and her office space. And she asked us to come in and take a look. And there was a lot of clutter on that. And the room was specific for her office and her workspace. And she worked with a sewing machine, and she was creating pillows and napkins and things. So, but her desk tended to have a lot of family pictures and family bills and all things that sort of didn't match with her business. So we suggested that she clear all that out, and that's her designated space for her work. And as you see, the difference, it was huge in the long run, because she obviously took the top of she took the hutch off and created a space with baskets for all of her some materials and the things that she's going to need for her day-to-day work. Clear desk. She has file cabinet, and behind, which I don't think I have the picture behind is her sewing machine. And the beauty of that was, well, one, it looks a lot better, and it was an identified space now for her work, for her business, and her business has taken off. It's in her home office, in her home as an office and a workspace. So it really made a difference for her, and it was that simple of just helping her see what this space was all about and how to use this space. This is probably the most important slide I have. So if you're going to take a picture, this is the one to take a picture of. This is from the Western Guide to Feng Shui by Tara Collins. And these are the 7 questions that you should ask yourself when you're going through your stuff. All right? Yeah. Number 1 is, do I love it? And that's the same thing that Marie Kondo says. Does what I am holding up in my hand bring me joy? And we'll talk a lot more about it as we go along. Do I need it? Is it something that I'm going to use within the next 6 months, within the next year? Is it something that is very, very meaningful to, again, who you are today? Does it support who I am in my life now? Okay, so those trophies that were in that bedroom of her son was not supporting who she was now, and she certainly didn't need it. Does the item rejuvenate, nourish, and inspire me? What memories, thoughts, and emotions are associated with it? Are they positive or are they negative? Does it need to be fixed or repaired? So my husband came home one day. It took us 3 years to empty out the family home. He came home and his favorite chair was going out the door. And, oh, don't feel bad. He said, where's my chair going? I said, well, to the neighbor. And I love that chair. I said, I know, it's broken. He said, I'm going to fix it. I said, it's been broken for 3 years. The neighbor's going to fix it. It's his chair. Yeah, 3 years, so it is a process. And is it time to let it go? Will you lend it? Will you sell it? Will you give it away? All of those are terrific options for your stuff. So, if somebody gave you, I wish, this is the next question most people are thinking about. I'm thinking you all. the question is, I have so many items from various and sundry relatives, friends in my basement, boxes and boxes of whatever. And what do I do with that? Well, it's almost like they need permission to say, let it go. Again, go through the list. It's okay, let it go. But it's my mother's favorite. Well, then give it away. Is there somebody else that will take it? There's lots of organizations, and again, NAPO knows a lot of places that will take some of the things that we have that are value. My question to you is, how much stuff do your kids want? Nothing. They want none of it. I don't want to break the news too hard, but especially the 20 to 30-year-olds that are just starting out. I don't know if you've ever been into any of their homes, but there's nothing in it. They're living very light, living light. And they don't want your plates. They don't want your silverware or your goldware. They don't want your Hummels, your Swarovski crystals. Just giving you the clue. The best thing that you can do for your kids, if you're in the stage of life where you're downsizing, is ask them what they want. If they want it, great, save it, give it to them. But if not, then just remove it, give it away. So, those plates, I had, a dozen of those beautiful plates that were given to me by my mom, and the woman says, oh, those are worth $5 each. And I said, my mother told me they were going to be worth a lot of money. I have to pay for my college. Yeah, it didn't happen. And I moved those things probably a dozen times until I took Feng Shui and realized it's okay to give away some of the things that other people gave me. And they were still special to me, and now they're going to be special to somebody else who really likes plates with lonely women on them. So, younger kids who are leaving college, and they've still got their rooms. They've left college, so they're getting their first job, first apartment. How long are you going to hang on to their stuff? Do you have to hang on to their stuff? So one Christmas, my children, I have two, got big, empty plastic see-through containers with a big red bow. I said, what are we going to fill these with? And I said, let's go upstairs. And we spent that weekend emptying out what they thought was important and what they didn't think was important. And it was fascinating to me to see what was left behind, things that I never would have expected. And the key was, it was whatever they left behind, they knew that it was going to be donated, and it was okay with us. So that really expensive leather jacket that we got my son, the one that you pay like a lot of money for, that sports one, yeah, it's now gone somewhere. So it was fascinating, but we stuck with it, and my daughter was very good. She took hers home with her and continues to, as she moves, take her big box with all her memorabilia around, and my son left it. And then he invited us to his apartment. Well, I'll tell you the rest of the story. So he invited us to his apartment, and it was in, he was in Virginia at the time, but he wanted us to come for Thanksgiving. Oh, can you bring the turkey? And, all the stuff that goes with it. 30 rack of beer. And I'm thinking, okay. So I asked him the really important question. He's single, he's bachelor. So what am I cooking on? We've got a kitchen. Pots and pans? We have pots and pans. Do you have knives and forks and spoons? Yep. I said, all right. 8-hour drive, we got the turkey, we've got the whatever. We go upstairs, with 3 flights of stairs, we're lugging up the turkey. Oh, but wait, we've got the plastic container in the bed too. We go up 3 flights of stairs, we open the door, and my daughter says, he has no kitchen table. No table to eat. I forgot to ask that question. But the moral of that story was, we brought him his memorabilia box. He says, oh, I knew that was coming with you. But it was fun. But we did it. We did it. And the furniture was gone, and that was it.
Did you use it for the table?
His roommate, who wanted to eat with us, his sister lived like a few streets over, and went and got a table. We stood, but at least we had a table. We still laugh about that. Anyway, how do you get started with all this? Lots of books, lots of things to do. As I go on, you're going to realize that certain rooms are going to be more important for you as an individual to start with than other people. So you'll all be starting in different areas. But one is, if clutter is, even if it's just for spring cleaning, figure out where you want to start. Make a plan. Make a short-term plan, a long-term plan. I want to get 1 room done every month. I want to eventually have clear my home because I want to sell my home. Again, 3 years. 3 years for us to empty that house and down to what we wanted. The very last day, there were probably 40, we had a family home, so we had Christmas lights and lots of extension cords, and so after doing this for weeks on end, that final moving day, we're all staring at the kitchen floor where there was probably 45 of these extension cords, and we all didn't even know where my daughter, who's now very involved in Feng Shui at this point, says just pick 3, we're going. That's what happened. We picked 3, the rest of them stayed and got on the sidewalk, and they were gone. But choose a starting point and a route. So how are you going to, you can follow your cheat. Start with the big stuff. And the organizers will tell you that the Feng Shui people are going to tell you that everything has a voice. That's what we're going to tell you. Everything you have has a voice. And what is it saying to you? What is it clattering to you? All those clothes in your closet that are a size 6, okay? And one day you're going to fit into those size 6, but they're mocking you. Every time you open that closet door, they're mocking you. Ha, I'm still here. You haven't used me in 5 years. Somebody is a size 6 out there. Donate it. And the same thing with clothes that are too big for you. They're saying, ha, I know you'll use me soon enough. So feel free to get those out of there. The big stuff. People seem to put a lot of furniture in a little space. Nothing feels so good as to get rid of all of that furniture. That furniture is just real, when you have to dust it holds stuff, clutter, and it just overwhelms the room. You can't really move around the room. It's okay to get rid of big items in your home, and a lot of times I see in small bedrooms really big hutches, or the men's cabinets, armoires. They're so big in the space. Maybe they fit when you were, had the 4,000-foot home and the big bedroom, but not anymore if you're downsizing, you're living in a small home. And so really, those are some of the first things. Because you get rid of those big items, you get rid of the big voice. Now you get all that paper. Let's go to the paper, and it's everywhere. And it's all chirping at you. Chirp, 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 chirp. It's just chirping. Just think about this in your house. I want you to think right now, what's in your house, and what is barking and chirping and yelling and screaming at you? Your stuff. Because it all has a voice. So what do? With paper, it's a little bit easier because you just take the papers on your desk, just move them into one pile, and now you got one voice. And then you just start going through, pulling out the magazines get that piled down to just the stuff that you have to file, which is the biggest. Fast or slow. Some people work fast, some people work slow. And as long as you're consistent, so I know that if I work with my husband, he works slow and long. So he'll be at a project all day long. I am like a bee. I like to flit from flower to flower, getting what I need, and off I go. And I need a lot of breaks. So I know that. So I make sure that if we're doing a project, I know that he's not going to finish until he's done, and then I will do other parts of that project. Gather your supplies. Some folks, you know, how many times you go, oh, we just did this weekend. Oh, do we have Windex? I don't remember. Is it upstairs or downstairs? Gather your supplies. Some people like to dance with work with music, because for me, I like to fool my brain. If I can do, at the time, Michael Jackson, I thought he has great music to clean to, I would put on a couple of songs and I would clean through those songs. And then it would just keep on, because now I'm in the rhythm and getting it done. Dress and eat and drink for the task. So some people like to wear their pumps and pearls when they're doing this little task. You get your stuff, whatever it is, your bedazzled clothes, whatever it is. And, make sure you nourish beforehand. But when you're done, not just a regular clean, but I'm talking about the serious decluttering. Give yourself a treat at the end. Whether it be go out for a favorite meal, your favorite drink, whatever. Make it worth your while to get through this. Some people like to clean green. That's fine, of course. Stay motivated. How do you stay motivated? What might be ways? Because after this class, I'm not motivating you. I'm giving you all the tools. Except if you brought a friend, that's good. How do you stay motivated?
Well, if I say what you've accomplished.
Take a picture. Take pictures. And if you really want to stay motivated, put them on Facebook. Because you will get so many comments. Oh, keep up the good work, you missed a spot, whatever. But it's kind of fun. Just let people know that you're going through this journey, and you might bring other folks along with you, and it's perfectly fine. And again, share your journey. Some other things, again, using the organizers as a basis for how to begin this. Trash bags, big ones, not like the little ones, the big black ones that you can bring lots of things in. Toolboxes, travel boxes. If you're working in a room, you generally have a lot of things from another room in there. You might, the Windex, which belongs downstairs, is upstairs. So a travel box, you put all these things in a box and then you bring the travel box downstairs. So it travels with you. Again, timer, recycled timer, a camera, again, for pictures, cleaning outfit, and you can even use a scented candle. So here's some intentions for why you might want to be doing this. I intend to work every day to clean and declutter my home and life for a new owner. I clean and declutter my home to clear the way for new opportunities. Because if you're suffocating in your own stuff, in your own clutter, then opportunities that are out there, you're so buried that you're not going to see them. They're there for you, you're just not going to see them. I choose only what is essential and happy for a happy, healthy life. So now I'm going to do strictly, I'll just go back here. So I'm going to talk strictly Feng Shui now in terms of cleaning and using some of the basic principles of Feng Shui. So when you're entering a home, remember, this is only the mouth of Qi, the front door. Remember your homework. You have to use your front door once a day. Whenever you're entering your home, and this can be, again, your grand home with a grand foyer or your small apartment that is 500 square feet. It doesn't matter. Everything is going to apply to your home. So you're stepping in from inside to outside, bringing in good Qi with you, and you have to allow that chi to settle. So the chi of the person coming into your home. And so you generally will have a welcome mat. If you have so much clutter in your foyer or in that area, or you don't even have a transition area, you're going to create one. And you're going to do that because when you bring, this is your good chi enter into the door. So you want to make sure that this area is of all the areas in your home, is one of the main areas that you're going to, if you can start with this area. If this is like your hallways are cluttered. But anyway, so look at your door. Is it work? Does it open and close freely? Remember that toolbox that you're bringing around? You might want to use it, tighten up that door. Squeaky door, squeaky, it's all a metaphor. Squeaky door, maybe a little creaky life. All right, scrape, check the paint. Is the paint clear? Is the paint fresh? Not peeling on that door? Is the door handle working? How about your door knocker or doorbell? Again, opportunity comes knocking. You have to have, how do folks know you're there? Make sure your hallways are free and clear. The hallways are actually, they represent the arteries of your body, the veins and arteries of your body. So, you know, if you're having trouble with your own cholesterol level, clean your hallways. And doors off the hallways are open. How about the kitchen? The front door, there are 3 things that I want you to go home and understand. Number 1, the front door, the mouth of chi. Number 2, it's the kitchen, but most importantly, it's the stove, and I'm going to focus on the stove in a minute. It's the stove in the kitchen. And then the third one is the master bedroom, or mostly the master bed, and we're going to talk about that too. So from a Feng Shui point of view, in order for this decluttering to happen, you also need to be healthy in order to progress with your plan. So the kitchen is the area for good food, good health, good wealth. Good food, good health, good wealth. That's today. 4,000 years ago, when the Chinese were living in their families, it was, again, very traditional Chinese. The father went out to work. If he was going to get a promotion, he would bring his boss back home. The woman would make this lovely, intricate meal and offer it to the boss. And if she was able to create this great meal and the boss liked his family and liked him, then he may have been offered the promotion. Good food, good health, good wealth. And then the family grows, everybody goes to work, comes back, and good food, good health, good wealth. So it just keeps going in cycles. You have to keep your family healthy and going off to work so they can stay, go off to work. So the stove is the energy generator. The stove is your money maker. When you're decluttering and you're in the kitchen tonight, you're going to look at your stove. Because remember, your stove is money. So, what's your stove look like? Is it working order? Is it clean? Do all the burners work? Everybody's shaking their head. Very good. If not, that's okay. You'll get to it. You're going to respect your stove. Because the stove works for you. It works very hard. Use all your burners. Because why make only one burner work? If you got 4 burners, you got 4 times the energy. Get them all working. About kitchen color, folks, I'm just going to say this, folks usually ask about kitchen color. Don't obsess about it. The lighter, the better. You want people to say, oh my God, I love this lovely dish you cooked. Not to say, oh, I love the color you chose for the paint on the wall. Because it's not about the paint on the wall. It's about the food that's being cooked in the kitchen. So, and never red, that's probably the biggest one. White's always good, never red. Just too much heat in the kitchen. You don't want too much heat in the kitchen. The stove, the red. What happens if you have too much fire energy? What happens? You burn, people start getting heated, the conversations start getting difficult. Next thing you know, right. So if you have red walls, you might want to reconsider. Replace what is needed for the present, and what I mean by that is go through your cabinets and underneath. I had chives from like, I don't know, 1980 something. Freeze-dried chives. They moved with me for a few times until I said, okay. Keep the counter and the surfaces clear. Clear of clutter. Hide your trash cans and your knives. Why the knives? So glad you asked. They are dangerous. Have nothing to do with anger and people like throwing them. Although, no, it's cutting energy. It's cutting. So you don't want too much energy where, now, it's good, better, best. Or I should say bad, worst, and really worst. So, you know the knives that are exposed on one of those magnetic, what like, you know, cooks have in your own home. I'm not talking about a chef's kitchen now. Those are probably the most dangerous because there's a lot of them. They're very exposed, and it's just a lot of cutting energy. So in that room, it just made, there might not be calmness and harmony in the kitchen. Whereas what you want, especially to protect the cook. The cook is in charge. Whoever is cooking is in charge of the kitchen. All right. So, and the trash is because energetically you're kind of sharing your dirty trash with people, like a dirty laundry. I knew it would happen once. So, did that answer your question? Yeah.
Can I ask you the slide before, why are the doorways always open in homes?
Allow that flowing of energy, except for the bathroom. You want to keep the bathroom just a little bit open. Yeah, just keep it low. Yeah, but all the way open is good. Yeah, that's fine.
What about knives and forks?
Yeah, that's fine. That's okay. That's okay. Not best, but that works. That's better.
But you can't see the blade.
You can't see the blade. Yeah. And the block is okay. Yeah, not fast. I put them underneath. I'm not taking any chances. All right, what do you think? There's a lot wrong here. It's like a little shop of horrors, right? Are you going to eat here? Are you going to feel relaxed in this kitchen? Are you going to invite people over? So, there's so much wrong with this. The clutter is unbelievable. 3 of anything, and you're going to hear me say this, 3 of anything is too much. There's way too many plants. Cats, dogs, kids, no, I'm kidding. But there's just, so, I mean, the only way to start that is literally clean it all out and start over. Because if your intention, let's go back to intention. If your intention is to get a family to sit around the table and communicate, it's not going to happen in this kitchen. It's overwhelming cheap, especially with the plants. They won't, again, back to the intention. The intention is to have a family meal where people are conversing nicely and relaxed and having a good, healthy meal that you've spent time cooking. In this kitchen, it's not going to happen. Okay? Because there's too much energy, too much going on in that kitchen. All those plants, the light, the table, there's no place to eat. So in terms of clutter, all of that, if that's the intention, if your intention is to grow a lot of plants, place and you're selling them, and there you go for it. And eat out. Dining rooms are interesting because they are, they're there to share memories. And dining rooms are more formal, so folks will go to a dining room to have, obviously, Thanksgiving or the holidays or Easter, Christmas, to share a meal with extended family. But it's really used that way. How many have multi-purpose dining room? Right. So it's fun. If you want to use your dining room as something else, just give it that purpose. You literally have to say to the house, this is what you're going to do now. You're going to be the craft room. You're going to be the third bedroom. Whatever that is. And that's fine. Just keep it. Declutter in the dining room, because I'm sure that you have enough place settings, my guess, for the entire town of Tewksbury. I'm just guessing. Open it up. If you have a table for 12, then have 12 place settings. Unless you are that family that has the big parties, and you need to have, the 30-something plates, then that obviously is a whole different thing. But allow yourself only what you need for today. Tableware, glass, linens. You read this stuff, when you're not looking, I think this stuff really mates and multiplies, because it is everywhere.
What do you figure out bills and your budget in the dining room? Is that bad?
If I went into your dining room right now, what's on the table?
Everything, plants, everything else.
Was that right? What do you use your dining room for?
Mostly storage.
Take the table out and make it an office, and that's fine. Is that yours right there? Anyway, again, just for dramatic effect, or if this is your house, again, it's on the internet. The living room. Living rooms are another interesting space. Living rooms are usually in the front of the house. Kitchens, if they're placed correctly in Feng Shui, they're in the back of the house. Dining rooms are usually more towards the middle of the house. But your living room is the place where people generally, now remember, I'm not talking about your family that comes, your mom, your dad, your kids that come walking through the back door. I'm talking about guests that, that boss that's coming, or that invited guest to your home who's never been there before. So usually they'll come to the front door, it's red and it's lovely. They'll ring the bell that's now working. They'll enter, it's a protective color for Feng Shui. You walk in, it's beautiful, clear foyer, and then the next part, and again, remember, I am envisioning that this is all decluttered, is that there should be a clear direction for your guests to go. So if you want them to go into the dining room, into the living room, you literally have to energetically guide them there, so that they're not walking into the kitchen or the dining room maybe, because everybody is met in this living room. Hats and coats are offered and taken, and then sat down, have a seat, whatever. But you have to give visual cues to your guests on where you want them to go. And we can do this many, many different ways. So, it's usually with furniture, so the furniture is open and walking in, and I've done it with a big purple. This family had this a purple. What's that? Not a Smurf, but they loved this big purple stuffed animal. And we used You'd see the chairs and you would walk in to that space. It was that attractive. It's like a Christmas tree. When you have a Christmas tree at home, if you can see it from the front door when you walk in, everybody automatically go towards that Christmas tree. It's just one of those things. And so that's the thing about living rooms. They're public spaces because they're seen by others, and they are shared space. So it's not only, it's all of your family members and your extended family members may have items in photographs, whatever, in that space. So in order to start to declutter, and I'll tell you, I'm looking at time, some stories, but in order to declutter in the living room, again, depending on the intention. So the couple that I worked with that were looking for, they were a young couple and they wanted to have guests. They said, you know, they lived in a lovely home, apartment, and they said, you know, we really want to have guests come to our home, but it seems like we just never have the opportunity, we never meet people, they never, well, and I said to them, well, what do you think? Take a look at your furniture and tell me what you think. They had 2 chairs, 2 big chairs, chairs, couch, and a TV. That was it. There was only space for the 2 of them and the TV. There was no, energetically, the room was not set up for lots of people. So in order to have a group, you need to have at least designers will tell you, you need to have at least seating for 6. And there's lots, and they had a small place, but there's lots of ways that you could do that. So, so it was very simple. I mean, it was that, back to the intention. So we were able to work that out, you know, by rearranging some of the stuff she had and kind of help them out understanding that if that's your intention, then you need to set your life up like that's what you want. All of you, what is your goal and your intention? You set it up as if it's already happening.
But can't you put 3 or 4 people on the couch and 2 chairs?
Designers will tell you that 3 people don't sit on a couch. No, not unless you're a dog or a baby. That's it. 3, I mean, no matter what. They just don't, not comfortably. I'm just saying. So, the other family I worked with, the other woman I worked with, she had, her intention was just the opposite. She said, Julie, my family that lives downstairs, they're up here all the time. She said they live downstairs, her mother, her father, and her oldest brother, who was a grown man. They were upstairs all the time. And she says, it's time for my husband and I, we kind of wanted to have some quiet time and, you know, really don't want all this people lingering. They linger all the time. So I said, well, I'm a nurse. I asked the questions. Tell me about your space. And when she started to describe the space, she said, well, this is my brother's chair. Like, this is the space I live in. This is my brother's chair. This came off the side of the road somewhere. They're all mismatched. This is my mother's chair and my father's chair. They all came from various places. And there was this little space where they had a new grandbaby. The grandbaby had a little space on the floor, but they wanted, you know, more space for the grandbaby to play. And I said, how about this? How about you get rid of all of the chairs that have their name on it, energetically, and you get folding chairs. You can get comfortable ones, you know, ones with seats, and folding chairs, and just when they come, put out the folding chair. When they leave, fold it up, put them back in the closet. They are not going to leave. They're not going to be, and that's what she did. I don't think she got folding chairs, but she definitely got more comfortable chairs, which allowed, and again, back to the intent. She couldn't see it, but we could see it. I could see it when I got there, and I had to just, and then as soon as I asked the question, well, tell me about your living room and what's going on here, just So what do you surround yourself with in your living space? And remember, everything's chatting at you. So what's on your shelves? What's on your coffee table? What's your music collection like? My husband's still young, still distressed that I get rid of all of his albums. Oh, well. Collections, those collections, oh my goodness. What are your collections? How many do you have? What are you collecting? And is it really valuable to you right now, who you are in your life? So, photographs are huge. Photographs, those are so precious to many of us, and people are struggling now. What do I do? There are organizations that will organize them for you, put them on CDs, so that all your things are on a CD. Is this something really valuable that you know you should get rid of, that you don't want, so I'm going to bring you value? My husband every time he goes to visit his dad, his mom passed away recently, he comes back with another little trinket. She loved angels. I'm not an angel lover. So he graciously accepts it, and he graciously gives it to me and says, what should we do with it? And so, we send it off to the universe. We donate it, and off it goes, and it'll make somebody else happy. But we do, if it's something, we take a picture of it and keep the picture. So at least you have that. What about artwork? Artwork is so important. And it doesn't have to be fancy artwork that you've paid a lot of money for. It can be your kids' artwork, or grandkids, or things that are important. Walk around your house and talk to yourself and ask yourself, what? Tell me about that picture. As if it's me. Tell me about that picture. What's it saying to you? Is it who you are today? The ship in the night in the storm. Like, really? Maybe it's okay to calm your life. Because that's the energy you're surrounding yourself with. Seeking a relationship, maybe women, I see many women who are seeking relationships that seem to have a lot of single women artwork in their home. It's okay to get that out. Put many dreams in there.
What did you see about, what if there's a bus going along the beach with a dark cloudy sky?
Do you love it?
Yeah, I do, but I don't have it anymore. I thought it was negative.
Well,
The dark cloudy sky, it's like it's gonna pour rain.
and then there it goes. Yes, perfect.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. So furniture, look at your furniture. Does it bash, bite, or poke? Comfortable furniture is, of course, the best. What was I going to say about this? So if you notice that if you have guests over and you notice that there's a seat that people don't generally sit in, like it's the last seat chosen, not counting the middle of the couch, there's no space for the couch, there's no one sitting there. There's usually a Feng Shui reason why that space isn't taken. So it's sort of interesting. A lot of times furniture floats, especially like the hardwood floors. The furniture is kind of floating there. You really want to ground your furniture, your bed, your tables, with a rug. It can just be an area rug, but it just sort of separates the space. I talk about safe seating. So I called it safe seating here, but it can be commanding position is what you could see in a book. And what it means is that where is the safest place in a room? And I'll just say the safest place for everybody in every room is to see who is coming through the door. Okay, so right now, I am in the most commanding and the safest position in the room. Because I can see if there was any intruders coming in to this room. And I would be the first one out the door. I'd take you all with me. All right? But that, so when you're sitting at your kitchen table or in your living room, you're looking to see, is every space safe? A safe space. And now, not everyone's going to be able to see the door, because otherwise you get everybody lined up in a row. Right? And so we start to use mirrors to triangulate sort of that space and give it the impression that everybody has a safe position. But, same thing with your dining room. I'm going to tell you a little secret. Maybe there's somebody in your family that has a little too much power, and it's your house. Well, you can put them in a seat that has a little less power. And that might be a seat that is not facing the door. So that they feel that their energy feels a little like agitated. So take that for what it's worth. Limit pillows on the furniture, chatty possessions, secure TV and electronics in a cabinet, again, in the best of worlds. We all have our 52-inch TV in a cabinet.
What's chatty possession?
Things like books that might have, like books on World War II that might be, things, maybe have a lot of those in a certain area. Chatty.
What about the pillows?
Way too many.
If they're propped up correctly, no. Looks good. It's not.
It looks good, but we're not designers here, and all your family, it's not for a magazine. Just take them off. Save one for me, because my legs are so tiny that I'm not gonna hit the floor. So I put it behind my back. That's the only reason there should be pillows on it. But and they're just taking up space. They need to wash it out. Yeah. That furniture is also, it comes to an angle, and that might be poking or biting, an example of poking or biting furniture. So, I mean, it looks nice, but it definitely has issues.
It would be better for circular.
It would be much better if it was circular. The table, yes. Yeah, good call on that one.
So that would have been an okay place if you had fewer pillows on a round table?
Yep. Yeah, it's not too bad. Yeah, and you see what you want, again, that you can have at least 6 people having a conversation. If you have a living room with, if your living room is much bigger, then you can have a couple of groups of, for folks to have conversation. But yes, you absolutely could have 6 people. You can put all those pillows right in that corner, because no one's sitting in that corner. Except the dog. The dog would take that spot. Your bedroom. What's clutter in that bedroom? Just like, oh. All right. 3 things happen in the bedroom. Sleep, rest, and intimacy. That's it. Now, not everybody's bedroom looks like this. It's a lovely, lovely bedroom. Has very nice feng shui. But here's some feng shui principles to follow through. Remember, I'm going to go back to what I said was important. The entryway to your house. Declutter that entryway. Next is your stove in your kitchen. Work in your kitchen. The next is going to be in the master bedroom. Those are the 3 pillars in feng shui. What's under your bed? Now, if you have things that are organized under there or nice in bags, you have stinky shoes, get those out of there. Because energy at night, what do you got under there? I'll tell you a story after. Energy is circulating all around you at night, so you need it to be very clear. Jewelry that doesn't make you happy. You've got that ring from, somebody said that online there was, Jennifer Lopez has 3 or 4 engagement rings. I'm like, wow. She can keep those under my bed, that would be good. So negative clothing, I think right there, I mean, is what's in your closet, what's the stuff that's mocking you. Remove furniture that's too big or too small. Bedroom, in a perfect feng shui world, the only thing in the bedroom is the bed. That's it, because you don't need anything else. You sleep, rest, or intimacy. That's it that happens in the bedroom. Why they've attached a bathroom, so you're trying to sleep, and there's a bathroom over here. The closet's in the room, you're trying to sleep, and the person's getting dressed, the back end of the room. It just doesn't make any sense to us feng shui folks. All it is should be separate spaces. Actually, that whole open concept floor plan is actually going away a little bit. But it is way too much in the bedroom. So, remove your big furniture, the exercise equipment. I can't tell you how many times I have found folks, how many times do you use that exercise equipment? Oh, we don't use it, but it looks good to have our clothes on. And people really do that. And your dogs are okay in the bedroom, because of course our dog is in the bedroom. Your kids are not, especially your grown kids. Your kids are not, your dogs are good.
Why are dogs good?
Well, they're just because they're good chi, good energy. Your snake is not, but your dog is good. It is, in feng shui, there's some books that will tell you no mirrors in the bathroom. Other consultants will tell you that it's okay to have mirrors as long as you don't see it from the bed. So in many styles of bedroom furniture, or bedrooms, the bed, and when you wake up in the morning, you see your bureau, and then you see the mirror. Well, it's best if that mirror wasn't there. In feng shui, you wake up in the morning, you see yourself, and then you go, oh, and then your day doesn't get off to a great start.
What about the mirror? You know, I have the sliding glass doors.
Well,
Mirrors, those are not good.
I'm going to ask you one question. Do you sleep at night?
No.
Okay, I'll talk to you later. Scar. Bathroom. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
There's a mirror in front of my bed, but I can't see myself from.
Do you sleep at night?
Not too good.
Mirrors are, but there's a lot of, mirrors are causing a lot of bouncing energy from lights. Some, not to get too deep into this, but some say that it's actually could be a portal. So they just want to kind of keep that, again, safe. We always use the word safe. The sliding, those things are just a lot of energy in there. And so you can cover it, put a curtain in front of it for now until you want to, and just get a spring rod, drop the spring rod in front of it with some curtains, make it go away, just to see how that, if it works for you. See what that does. All right, so books and collections, it's fine. You can have 3, books at your bedside, whatever. TV and electronics, not the best to have in your bedroom. A lot of people do. I suggest if you're sleeping at night, don't do any of this. But if you're not sleeping at night, cover the electronics. The bed placements for supportive sleeping. The bed placement is crucial. So in the bed, where you have your bed should be where you can see the door. Not right in front of it, but off to the side, you can see the door. So anything along this wall, because your bedroom door is there, is fine. These 2 walls, this wall and this wall, are not the best. They're not terrible because the room's so big, but you have to turn your head in order to see out the door, and that's not the safest place to have your bed. So it's back to commanding position. Where is the best place to put your bed? So that sometimes gets a little complicated. Not underneath a beam, never underneath a slanted wall. Okay, yeah, not a
That
beam.
rules out upstairs beds in a cave.
Yes. Yes, it could, until you feng shui it. And then we can help take care of that. So who sleeps up there right now? Do you sleep in there, up there? Or
My
just,
husband sleeps up
okay,
in a little room.
in the little room?
Yeah.
Okay. Does he sleep fine?
Yeah, sometimes not.
Does he feel a lot of pressure in life?
Yeah, but he doesn't, he thinks it's.
I think it's the
Yes.
ceiling. A lot of pressure. I'll tell you guys a story after.
Why should you cover up the TV and other times?
Again, just because it's there's a lot of electricity and a lot of energy. Everything, you gotta put everything to bed, just like day and night. You have to do that for your house. You close the windows, lock the doors. You have to put everything to sleep. Well, essentially. I mean, generally. Well, you can open them during the day, but at night I close my windows. Not upstairs, just downstairs.
But upstairs.
You can keep yours open. It's fine.
Do you close the bedroom door or not?
No, you can keep the bedroom door open. Doors should open freely. They shouldn't knock together. Your doors, when you open two doors, it's called, oh my God, I'm just blanking on it. But the two doors shouldn't hit together. If they are, it's pretty simple cures for that. No photos of your children, your grandchildren, your friends.
Why is that?
Everything's chatting at you. What are they saying? I'll tell you a story. So, my friend, I have permission to tell her story, and I've told it almost every single time I do these because it puts all of this together for you. It sort of makes sense. We ate 3, we have to be out here by 9, right? So we're doing okay. We're wrapping it up. So my friend asked me to come to her house soon after they moved into this house, which she did not want to move into. It was Mr. Fine's house. Mr. Fine, he was an elderly gentleman, and he passed away, and they had the first right of refusal for this home. So in other words, and she didn't know her husband had made this arrangement. So next thing you know, she's moving. And a year into this move, she was not liking this bedroom. She wasn't liking the house. She said, I really need help with the bedroom because I am just not sleeping. And I had just started up my feng shui, and I said, let's go to it. So we went upstairs, and he's a painter, and he painted it the color of your shirt. Bright, bright, bright yellow. Very sunny in that room. See how much you guys already learned? It's amazing. Yes. And so I walked around the room, and her bed was directly pointing, it was like right here, directly pointing to the door under a slanted ceiling. So, and the room was set up very angled, so there wasn't much, anyway, we did fix it, but. And I said, well, tell me about what else is going on in this room. I go, what's over here? And she said, oh, that's a picture of my daughter and the new baby and my son-in-law. Oh, so your son-in-law is hanging out in the bedroom with you. What are the 3 things? So, and I said, so what do you mean? The daughter's saying, hey, can you babysit? They're chatting, right? Everything's chatting. Can you babysit? You know, I need, and I said, well, okay, that's gotta go. And I said, well, tell me what's going on over here. And she said, well, that's my dad, the urn. And that's my dog, Mandy, who was a big beagle that ate like 10 pounds of food one day and just got massively obese, and was continued to be hungry for the rest of its life. And it was a barker, you know, beagles are barkers. But her dad was never happy with her. Her dad always thought she should have gone to medical school and not nursing school. He was never happy. But he was taking up space right there in her bedroom. So now it's starting, and I always see this when I start working with people. Now I see things are starting to connect. She goes, oh, Julie. She goes, run into the bed. She pulls out these tattered cardboard boxes, and she said, well, these are all the photos and photo albums of my first marriage. So So her first marriage, and the mother-in-law, the kids, her husband's her husband's brothers and sisters' baptismal records. So before, at that point, before we were even done the consultation, she's on the phone with her husband. She said, "Get over here, quick! We got work to do." And there was nothing in there that showed me that it was their space for sleep, rest, and intimacy. There were no pictures of them, whatever. So I'm very good friends with her, but I'm not invited back up into their private space, their bedrooms, for probably another year and a half. And when I went up, she goes, "You have to see what we did." I said, "Oh," I was shocked. It was amazing. They took the slanted ceiling and she made it into a little reading nook. They moved the bed to an area that was actually in front of a window, but what they did was they took a curtain rod, they put a very heavy drape behind it, and at night they closed it, so it made a solid surface, energetically a solid surface. She said she's never slept better. They took out all the pictures of everyone that wasn't them, put up pictures of when, where the places they wanted to go, things they've done. It was just a completely different space, and I said, and I love the color Jim painted the walls. And she said, "He never painted. It was still the lemon yellow, but when they did, and they adjusted the entire environment, and they just were able to calm it down, everything just settled in that space, and it was just happy. It was happy being, instead of lemon yellow, it was just kind of a pale yellow, and he never did anything to it." And I thought, yeah, very interesting.
Well, how did it come down?
Just because they moved things where it needed to be. They took out the pictures, they took out, the urns, needed to go someplace else. Something, yeah.
What was the slanted ceiling?
The slanted ceiling is a lot of older houses, New England houses have a lot of slant, caves have a lot of slant. It's just some people can feel the pressure of that slant. Yeah. Let's see where we were. Only items that celebrate you and your relationship. Let me just see where we're at. Okay, I'm just going to tell this quick story. So this bedroom is one of the few opportunities I've got to work with a designer. And this bedroom is very, very purposeful. This is what she wanted for colors and all. This is a healing space for her. She had long-term intentions, but her short-term intention was to heal from a relationship that was devastating when her husband actually had left for two 30-year-olds. Anyway, attic and basement. So again, best thing for your attic and basement is, your basement is your foundation, the foundation for your life, your story, your foundation for your story. We talked about your house being your story, the foundation for your story. The attic is your potential. So you don't want to put too many things up there. So eliminating anything that doesn't belong there. Go through those 7 things we talked about, all the way up through your attic. Every little thing, every paper clip, every piece of paper. Throw away what isn't bringing you joy today. Baggage. How much baggage do we need to carry with us? I mean, some people have, sets of suitcases. I call baggage. How many do you need? It's not going to fit in the upward thing anyway, so you might as well give it away. So light every area, corner of the room. This is your basement and attic. Organize using shelves, bins, and racks. Allow chi to flow through the space. And declutter is a yearly event. One of the ways I keep rooms alive, there are rooms I use that I don't, rooms I use more than I don't use in my house. And I have, in one particular room, which I call very nicely the Zen Den, I keep and I go in there all the time. So I have a $12 disco ball, and it just rotates in there. It just keeps that space. And I always walk by and I always laugh, oh, that disco ball's still working. It just keeps going around and around. In my attic, I have wind chimes. And they're just up there. Boop. And again, the idea is to keep energy moving up there. I could put the disco ball up there, but I wouldn't enjoy it. So,
What does the attic symbolize?
the attic symbolizes your potential. So keep the energy flowing. No stuck energy. So it takes years to downsize and to declutter. Assess what you'll need, evaluate every item, make 3 piles. The pile that you know you're gonna keep, the pile that you're undecided, and the pile of bye-bye. The undecided, let me talk about that for a second. If you really aren't sure what you're gonna do with whatever, a bunch of stuff, okay? Go get yourself one of those plastic see-through containers, put the stuff in there, put a red heart on it, and the red heart symbolizes that you haven't forgotten it, it's there, and that maybe you won't do anything with it for another year, but when you go back to it, you may have a whole different feeling about it. Don't be afraid of the undecided stuff. You have divorce papers that you have to keep somewhere in the house. You can't bury them anywhere. The secret Feng Shui transcendental cure now is to put them between mirrors. To just anything that might have some negative energy to it, some power to it, just put it between 2 mirrors, the mirrors facing each other, so that energy is just bouncing back and forth and not out towards you. Measure your furniture for your new home. We learned that the hard way. Assess your new storage areas, clear bins for organizing. Get children involved in any age for clearing. Really important. And remember your 7 steps to decluttering. Organize for a Fresh Start is Sue West, and she's local. She's from New Hampshire. She wrote a great book, and that's on downsizing. And another one, Downsizing the Family Home. And of course, the other book is Marie Kondo's Tidying Up. So here's what you want to do. You want to start. Did somebody want the other slide? Here's the review slide. It's a process. Somebody says, it's like trash day. My dad's favorite day is trash day, right? Trash day is every week. Your decluttering is an ongoing process. If you want to change your life, this is an old Feng Shui proverb. If you want to change a change in your life, move 27 things in 9 days. You can do it all tonight when you get home. And when I don't move, throw away, it's all the same thing. All right? I like the number 9, because 9 is a lot of power in Feng Shui. It's kind of like the highest number, because after 9 it's 0 and 1 and 0. So I fool myself by saying, I'm going to pick up 9 things, or I'm going to clear this drawer of 9. And again, it's just kind of playing with my sense of reality. And there's NAPO, National Association of Professional Organizers, a big group in Massachusetts, New Hampshire. They meet every month in Waltham. It's just a big group. And they're all wonderful, wonderful women. And men. They're men and they're now. And there's some of the books that, if you want to take that I used. But Feng Shui for Dummies is probably the best book. Did you learn something?